Today we're starting section 3. We need to remember that a diameter is a special chord. A chord touches the circle on two parts. The second one has a major arc and a minor arc. If arc GD is congruent to GF, then the point G in any line segment or ray that contains G bisects FD. Remember, bisects divides something into two equal parts. Let's look at this theorem. Congruent chords theorem. In the same or congruent circles, congruent arcs are above congruent chords. Perpendicular chord bisector theorem. If a diameter is perpendicular to a chord, then it bisects the chord and its arc. The converse of this theorem is if a chord is the perpendicular bisector of another chord, then the chord is the diameter. Let's look at this problem. I have a circle and I know that the measure of angle AMO is 90 degrees. I also know that arc AB is 140 degrees. And as I look at the drawing, and I'm drawing it into my notes, I see that because AMO is 90 degrees, that means it is a perpendicular bisector dividing segment AB into two equal parts. It also divides chord AB into two equal parts. So that means since chord AB is 140 degrees, that means that half of chord AB must be 70. So I can set 2y equaling 70, and when I solve for y, I get y equals 35 degrees. Equidistant chords theorem. In the same or congruent circles, two chords are congruent if and only if they are equal distance from the center. Okay, let's look at this problem. As you're copying down this problem, draw the circle and all of its parts and think about what is everything that you know. Pause the video and restart it when you're finished. Alright, well, I know I have to solve for x. Well, I know that since congruent chords are an equal distance from the center, that since one side is 4, the other must also be 4, therefore x is equal to 4. But now I need to find QT. Well, if I draw QT in, I see that I have formed a right triangle. Well, that means that that perpendicular bisector bisected RT, so RS is 3, ST must also be 3. I can use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing measure of QT. Okay, one last problem. As you're copying this one down, again, also think about all of the parts and what do you know. It's always important to start your problems. Okay, well, I know that the measure of ZMY is 52 degrees, meaning the arc ZY is also 52 degrees. So I can set x plus 10 equal 52, and when I solve for x, I get 42. Same goes for the other arc, WX. I see that the central angle measure is also 52. So when I set 2y plus 6 equaling 52, and I solve for y, I get y equals 23. It's that easy.